may remember me from my television shows in the 1980s and 90s, and now I host two regularly live streamed virtual magic shows. One is a showcase for some of the greatest magicians in the world, and the other is a talk show featuring some of the most inspiring conjurers of our times. Welcome now to Magical People. And welcome everybody. Tommy's grooving already. Welcome everybody to this week's edition of Magical People Live. We have the very talented and gifted, that's probably the same, Tommy Burnett this week. And he's here to discuss in detail his latest tome, which is, the writing is so small for me, Beneath the Surface. And he's got a soft cover version right there. It also comes in hardcover. Now,
Yeah.
I've been blessed enough, Tommy, that you gave me a PDF. Aha, there it is, a PDF version of the book. So I've been, and I think it was before you even released it, I've been blessed enough to read it, read most of it. It's almost 400 pages, and to pick and choose from the table of contents, which I have before me. As well, I want to emphasize for everybody, for all the magicians out there, the lay people may not have any idea what we're talking about, and that's all right because Tommy looks very interesting in himself. So all they have to do is just kind of stare and enjoy, particularly the female viewers, but all viewers are welcome to stare at Tommy. But really, this is for magicians. We're going to go very much in depth on some of the material in that book because, above all, it's very, very crucial. And it's not just about a magician of any age. Pre-show, I was saying, oh, well, young magicians, they tend to do this and that. Yeah, well, there's also very gifted young magicians and magicians of all ages we all tend to do this.
Hmm.
We get so excited about a trick we've ordered, and we've built up the anticipation in our mind for it to be finally delivered because we just want to open it and play with it, essentially, or add it to our repertoire. And there's the illusion, pun intended, that this particular effect will make our careers. This is it. It's our opener or it's our closer, and we'll become world famous for it. And some very, very small instances this has occurred. This tends to be true. But like clothes, the tricks do not make the magician. The magician, the person makes the clothes. It's how it hangs on them. It's how the person carries themselves. And
Hmm.
so it is with magic and mentalism and mystery entertainment and bizarre magic. You can't just pick up something, no matter how much you adore it and love it, and you've been studying it and have the patter in your head. Oh dear, you're going to use the patter that came with the effect. We should talk about that.
Yeah, we can.
In
Yeah,
fact, let's segue into that.
yeah,
How
sure.
great an idea is that, Tommy? I mean, I know the
Yeah,
answer. I'd
yeah,
say, okay,
I mean, if it wasn't already in the notes, I would have said that you came up with it on the fly. But no.
which I'm notorious for, by the way. And and inexperienced guests kind of drop their mouth and they go, "Oh, that's not in the notes. What's he talking about?"
Right, right.
But you know full well what I'm talking about, as do all the magicians out there. It's not necessarily a good idea that we follow not the instructions, but the patter verbatim, because the patter isn't made for the individual. You know, your performance style is completely different than Joe Schmo's performance style or
Yeah.
Ethel Cohen, her performance style. Yeah, she's around somewhere watching us from heaven.
I
Ethel
know
is.
if a moment is Steve Cohen, uh, is that like a morph?
What you gonna do? She's making latkes up in heaven. Ethel is, believe me. So
I'll be there soon, Ethel.
uh, so
I'm
I
coming.
want wait, those are pigeons. I really want to emphasize. I know. I think this whole conversation just went splat.
It's
Um,
okay.
I, it's so important, isn't it, Tommy, for us to individualize the pattern or the story or whatever video we're looking at
Yeah,
that accompanies the trick. You have to make it your own, do you not?
absolutely. Um, I think, those are there for a guideline. So, otherwise you won't know how the trick is supposed to unfold, right? But if you do it verbatim, uh, you're doing somebody else's trick. And I am saying trick. I don't have a problem saying the word trick. In fact, I'm going to say it again. Trick. Yeah. Okay. I said it. Now we can relax. Okay. Yeah. No. We're all among friends. We're all among musicians and metals. We know what a trick is. It's okay. Um, some people don't like using that word. Probably not a good idea to use that word while you're performing, but unless it could be your style. I know a lot of musicians in Vegas, I'm going to show you a trick, and that's fine. Um, but one thing I talk about in here is to define a character for yourself. And my character is, if you can call it that, I'm like an everyday man who, on occasion, can read minds or do something psychic. I don't claim to be psychic. I don't claim that I have special powers, but every now and then something weird happens that people can't explain. And that's, my character, if you will. Um, and I think that, going back to your question about following somebody else's script, it also depends on the effect. If for example, um, I bought something that I've never had before. I always wanted it because my good friend Alan Fisher does a really great performance of it. I'm not going to do it because I can't do it justice. I got it mainly because I wanted one. That's really all. I may never perform it. I just like, it's a bit of really cool science. And what Alan did is created a 3 or 4 minute poem about a gambler back in the 1800s who used one of these things. Now, comparatively, the reason why I bring this up is because out of the corner of my eye, I saw the instructions for this thing. One piece of paper, double-sided, and that's it.
Wow.
Now, if
Wow.
if if you if you do what it says in here, you might fool some of your friends, but it won't create a memory. It won't create a long lasting effect in your audience. And that's a lot of what this book is about is making your performances memorable and uh, getting your audience to like you is a very important part of getting return performances. Um, so, yeah,
So let's talk script writing.
yes.
One of the headers here is scripting and show writing for emotional impact. And like you were trying to say before I interrupted you, so hopefully not so rudely,
No,
is or maybe rudely, I'm not sure.
who
Um,
cares, right? If you are so you can interrupt me anytime you want as long as I give you the amount of space in order to interrupt me. Go.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. In any case, it's so important, and I really believe because I have a lot of faith in our performers out there. And by the way, I use the word and only when performing for lay people. If it's mixed magicians and lay people, I call it effects or experiments, just to
Yeah,
elevate the idea a little
right.
bit and psychologically
Yeah,
and all that sort of thing. But when we're amongst mostly magicians, and there are 99 percent magicians present in studio here, and I have a funny feeling, I have a funny feeling that before long, this one person may be somewhat of a magician in time. But regardless, I don't think there's a magician out there or a performer who doesn't run through the thing in their minds and consciously or not write their own script a little bit because part of the sales technique when a magic company or whatever is trying to sell us the trick, and if they're good at it, they let us envision ourselves doing it. They even say, imagine you're standing there, blah, 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 blah. And it's like we automatically go there and it excites us. It's a wonderful, very effective technique. But then if we run with that and we finally get the effect in the mail or however it's delivered, it's kind of like, oh, here's the prop. And sometimes, and we can address this later or sooner, it's up to you. It's like it's like a an not L-shaped, a U-shaped piece of metal. And it's like, what in tarnation? This is the whole secret to I'm talking about
right. Of
the
course.
flash
Yeah,
cube.
yeah,
But anyway,
yeah, yeah,
it came to mind. And it's like, well, it's not the prop. Oh my goodness, it's a pen or a pencil, and there's this weird plastic thing attached to it. How does that? And you panic initially because your imagination has made it greater than it is.
yeah,
But then the reality sets in. This is the prop. I better make it just as good as the video or better, or have it be me presenting this effect.
yeah.
And I still do occasionally. I'll make points and things I'm going to say maybe as part of the script. But then, and when I run through it, and believe it or not, even though we do a different effect every week on Open Mic Magic Theater, look it up on Facebook. Um, I do rehearse many, many times. And then once I'm 1,000% sure I know what I want it to look like to the audience, how I'm going to say it, as long as it's me, a projection of me, or an extension rather of me, then I'll contact Cheryl. Sometimes it's on a Sunday, but lately it's been on a Monday. And then we play with that, and she might turn it into something completely different or have her own edition.
Right.
But then I have to backtrack and then rethink again what I'm going to say, how I'm going to intro her and all of that. So there's a great amount of scripting, but it's not just about scripting, is it, Tommy? It's about dramatic effect. And there's a great deal of psychology behind the scenes involved. Do you want to run with that?
Yes, I do. I need to put on my reading glasses because I actually wrote something down that kind of touches on it. Um, and it has a heading of mentalism as meaning, not not just method. I didn't write beneath the surface to only teach more tricks. I wanted to share the thinking, the structure that makes mentalism matter. It's not about showing off, It's about creating a moment that sticks with people long after the show ends. So it's about making that connection. And one of the things that I heard from that came out of somebody else's mouth that really made an impact on me was from Peter Turner, and it was in his Penguin Live lectures, the very first one. I'm sure he's done more than one, but somewhere in the middle of it, just like as an aside, he said, if I had 5 minutes with a potential um, volunteer and I had a choice to either perform an effect or make a connection, I'll make a connection.
Absolutely.
The effect,
Absolutely.
the effect for me always comes secondary.
Yes. Yes. And you do connect with your audiences every Wednesday on Open Mic Magic Theater. Look it up on Facebook.
Yes,
I look forward to, I'm participating in it as well, but I
good.
look forward to, as a performer, as a magician, as a buddy of yours, I always, believe it or not, I'm not just saying this to be nice. I always look forward to the slant or the energy that you
Yeah.
give a
Oh, good.
particular effect. And it might be what we call an old chestnut. It might be, oh no, we know he's going to do the invisible deck or the brainwave deck, but let's see the mystery
Right.
that surrounds it that he creates. And you do. I'm not just trying to be nice. I hope
No,
I'm conveying this to our audience both on Facebook and in studio, is that you did in effect, this comes to mind, and I think it was before Cheryl was my partner in magic. She doesn't want to be called my assistant, it's my partner in magic. And by the way, where is she? She's missing in action again. No, she's working out in the field. And so she's
he's
on
on assignment.
assignment.
Yeah.
Very good. It has to do with rabies. That's
Taking
a
mine.
whole other thing. She
Yeah.
asked me to
Yeah.
mention it's to do with
Yeah.
rabies. Um, that's a very biting remark. But nonetheless, you did an effect,
Yeah.
and it was a prediction sort of effect in an envelope behind you, sitting somewhere
Yeah.
behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And right there, you're building some kind of drama. You're almost teasing the audience. I'm saying this because I hope people follow one of these similar techniques. And it's like, I'm thinking, what in tarnation? I've become an old prospector now. What in tarnation
Us.
is in that envelope? Now, as a magician, we know, well, it's probably a prediction, but what form is it in? Is it a written out prediction? Is it a deck of cards? Is it a playing card? Is it a picture? What is
Mm-hmm.
it? And all that was going through my mind, and hopefully I'm not mad. So therefore, it was hopefully going through everyone else's mind. They could see something that's not usually there, and it was a brown envelope, I think, a brown manila envelope.
Mm-hmm.
And Cheryl, then kind of new to magic, I thought, oh, this is perfect. And not that she played into it or anything, but the way you presented it, the way you kind of, and you do this to all of us. I hope you enjoy this imagery. You take us by the hand, or if we're multi-limbed, if we have like more than two limbs, you grab us by our limbs and you take us down this road. And oftentimes it's a fascinating story, or you've injected yourself into it as being part of the mystery. And then finally, after a few detours and whatnot, boom, there it is. And finally, it's the envelope. And you open up the envelope. And even the way you do it is dramatic, it's probably now a part of who you are. So you're not even probably thinking anymore, but you open it up and we're all leaning into the screen. We are. And it's like, I think it's a deck of playing cards. And for
Wow.
that moment, we're wondering, did he get it? Did she get it? What is really going to happen? It's a deck of playing cards, but literally there could be hundreds of various combinations of outcome to it. And finally, I don't want to give away the ending because
But
you might be doing it again.
you and I know, you and I know. If anyone else wants to know, they can follow me on Facebook.
Yes, but the
Look
ending
me
was
up on Facebook.
successful. That's the
Yeah,
point. The ending
yeah,
was successful.
yeah.
The revelation worked,
Yeah.
if you will. And we breathed a sigh of relief. And it's kind of like, bravo, huzzah, yes. So there was this whole victorious ending, not just the mystery solved or the mystery accomplished or the impossibility having occurred with just some simple props, I might add, which I do want to maybe tackle. We can segue into that.
Yeah.
With just some simple props to not cloud people's eyes and minds. And it's like a miracle has just occurred. And then you took your proverbial bow or whatever, and it's like, bravo, Tommy Burnett. And so let's break that down a wee bit if you want, unless you think I've said it all and we could move on to something else. It's up to you.
Well, you have said it all, but let me add a little bit to that. There is a psychological and emotional element to making an effect meaningful. Um, and I'm an emotional guy. I always have been, and that may be why I'm usually single, because a lot of women tell me they want a man who's emotional, but once they get one, it's like, whoa, you're way too emotional, man. You know. But uh, I'm not here to sound like a bleeding heart, because I'm not. I'm actually happy with myself the way I am right now. It would be nice to have company, but it's a whole other show. It's a whole other show. Uh, Psychology is everything. You can have like uh, one single playing card and nothing else. And if you have the right psychology, you can do wonders. Um, I'd like to tell you something really quick. It didn't even occur to me until right before the show that this would illustrate um, what I'm talking about. So let me change down to my, let's let's use that angle. Come on, there we go. All right, that way you can still see my handsome face over here. And uh, this lovely bag of from a Crown Royal bottle that I didn't even get to drink, but it's a whole other story. Inside here are they're almost like medallions. It turns out that they're buttons, and they were put out back in like the 1920s to celebrate um, Big Ben, which is now in, they call it something else. It's still Big Ben, but Big Ben is inside of Elizabeth Tower, I think. Somebody can correct me later. But each one is a little bit different from the next. I'm just going to take these out. Um, and let me put on my good glasses here so I can actually see. Um, so like this one it looks like 725. Let me see if I can get that where you can see it. 725. This one is like quarter to one. Let's give it one or two more. This is like 10:30. Um, yeah, and I'm picking up one out here. Yeah, this is like exactly 4 o'clock. Yeah. So, um, and oh, this is here. Nice. Ben, what are you doing? My dog is. Oh, Ben, what are you doing? Always when I'm performing. Okay, so we'll put you back in the bag, and I'm going to say something that our friend from Australia, Joseph McGrail Bateman, hates when people say, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you were with me right now, but you're not, I would give this to you and ask you to reach inside and pull out three of the buttons. But because you're not here, I'm going to be your hand. So if I pull it out and you don't like it, I'll put it away and pull out a different one. But all we need are three of them. So I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to hold it with its back to you so you can't see, you can see the back. Do you want me to keep this one or do you want me to get rid of it? You want me to keep it or get rid of it?
Keep it, please.
Okay, so we'll place that one face down there and let's see. Yeah, that's a good one. Uh, Keep it or get rid of it.
Keep it.
Okay, and do one more. That's a great one. Okay, and keep it or get rid of it.
It feels like a keeper as well.
Excellent. All right, so now comes the time for me to make a prediction. And because I wasn't prepared to do this, I have nothing to write on. So I'm going to go out of frame here for a second. There we go. And have some. This is a dry erase index card and a dry erase marker. I'm going to I'm going
See,
to
right
say,
there, that's fascinating to me as a performer and as a regular person. I didn't know dry erase index cards existed. Now I've got to source them out because that's very practical.
yeah, well, yeah, very good. So I'm, I'm gonna, I apologize. I was just guilty of something that I talk about in the book, where I sort of stopped what I was doing and listening to what you were saying, as opposed to what I just did was it was more important for me to be doing the trick than listening to you. So I want to apologize because it,
It's all good.
well, I still want to apologize because um, the trick, any trick only works if you have a rapport. Now, we have a rapport because we're friends, but that doesn't, it's not an excuse for me to not listen to you when you're talking.
Well, it's your apologies appreciated. Thank you.
Anyway, I have, let me just make sure I actually, yeah. So I wrote down a time that I think will be um, relevant. And I'm going to ask you the same thing I did before. Do you want to keep it or do you want to get rid of it?
Right.
And this is not an equivocate. Whatever you say, it's going to be gotten rid of until we have one left. But imagine it, you putting your hands over it and feeling the energy of each one. And um, if you feel a warmth over number one, say yes. And if you don't, that's the one we need to get rid of. So do you feel a warmth over number one?
Yes, yes. Energetically, it stands out to me.
Okay, so let's try number two. Um,
It's a little bit cooler. It feels, no, I'd have to say
okay,
no.
no, no on this one. Okay, so we get, and just so you know, the time on this one is about 10 after 5. Let me see, 10,
Yes, very good.
5. Okay. Um, and so now you said warm on this one. What about this one here?
That one feels warm. I have to say,
Excellent.
energetically, it
Yeah,
feels
good.
warm.
Because I'm feeling the same thing. So imagine having holding them in your hands, one in your left hand and one in your right hand. Which one do you want to get rid of? The one in your left hand or the one in your right hand?
In the
Let's
left
your left
hand,
hand. So we're
please.
going to get
Yep.
rid of this
Yeah.
one. Let's take a look and see what we have here. Okay, so this is about mm, 9:37, I think. We're going to say 9:37.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. And that leaves this one here. This is the one that you're happy with. This is the one that gave you warmth. So I'm going to be very careful with this and show you without changing anything and keeping in mind that number 12 should be at the top. And um, it looks a little bit like almost 5 to 2, but it's a little bit more than that.
Yes.
Sorry, Ben, you're killing me here. Make up your mind, please. You can't keep going back and forth. Um, there we go. Okay, so yeah, I would say it's more like 157 or 158.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which is good because I'm sorry, no, it wouldn't be 158 because that would be high. It's more like 151 or 152.
152-ish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, which is great because I wrote 152, and you could have picked any one of these. There's probably 40 of them, and yeah, you could have had any one. Anyway,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
the
That's a
reason why,
stumper.
well, I'm not going to give it away, other than the fact that I will say, uh,
And there was absolutely no equivoque, no magician's
no
choice.
equivocation,
Uh, and
no,
that was
no
obvious.
existence choice. However, it was all psychological.
Yes, yes.
And,
And you
and
tend to follow, I notice, a lot of your mentor's philosophy,
yes,
Kenta Nepper. Would I
yes,
be correct in saying that?
yes, Kenton is the man. If anyone out there wants to be not just a good mentalist, but a strong, powerful mentalist, get Kenton stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, my stuff is good, but I learned most of what I know as far as mentalism goes from him. So you're getting it from me. It's good stuff, but you're getting it secondhand, right?
I
Uh,
love the simplicity, the apparent simplicity that he presents. And I find that very present in much of your work, Tommy. You used simple props. There were little clocks engraved on coins, coin
yeah,
clocks, if you will.
yeah,
That's it,
yeah,
and a bag. Yeah, it
yeah,
doesn't get much simpler than that. It truly
yeah.
doesn't. And of
And,
course, a pen and cardboard to write your
and
prediction on.
it plays big. I've performed this in front of like 300 or 400 people, and you get like 3 or 4 people on stage, and everyone picks out a different coin, and then somebody else decides which one we're going to stay with. Meanwhile, my prediction is written down at the beginning. Um,
So let's
sometimes,
talk psychology. What
yes,
sort of psychology for those um, who may not have gotten that, who chose to just enjoy the effect as it is? But those of us who are a little bit nuts, we dig beneath the surface, which is, by the way, the name of the book. And it's like I was also watching any psychological subtleties and handling, etc. And it's like it seemed very straightforward, which I think there's the book, which is the key, isn't it? I mean, if you're
yeah,
using psychological subtleties, they should be subtle. It shouldn't be obvious.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, I
um,
mean, I don't have a problem tipping this because no one else is going to be able to do it because these coins are really hard to find. I tried marketing it on Alakazam, and we decided not to because it's. I mean, you can find these coins, and if you do, great. And if you want to record this part, fine. But this was just something I came up with because when I realized it would work, I thought the method was so cool. Um, and and this is it. They're all the same. They're all the same.
yes, yes,
Um, and people are accustomed to looking at a clock. They look at the arms and the hands. They don't look at the numbers, especially if the numbers are Roman numerals, which is what they are here. Um, if I hold this up with the 12 at the top, it's going to be 152.
yep,
Yep. So I take one out, I hold it, and I turn it, and I say, so that looks like about 4 o'clock for me. And then this one here, oh yeah, this is like 9:30. And I was just turning it around, making different times.
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
and it's that simple. But um, it goes beyond that. The simplicity of the method gives you carte blanche in how you're going to perform it and present it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and yeah, you can find these, but only like maybe 4 or 5 at a time. So you have to like get maybe 5 packages of them. I'm not going to tell you where. I'm going to make people work for it. If you like that, it's kind of how my book is designed. My book is not designed to teach tricks. There are tricks in there, and they're scattered throughout the book. But the main purpose of the book is to teach everything else: the psychology,
Yes.
the emotional architecture around an effect. Anyway,
I, I want to
um,
talk about likability because I think that's crucial. Now, automatically, everybody likes Tommy. Everybody loves you, pretty much. I'm not just saying that to
not
be nice.
everybody.
Well, and that's half. I think you'll agree with me on that. That's half the task. I've
Mhm.
noticed after doing hundreds, thousands actually, of children's shows if the kids love me and I know how to get them to love me, I'm goofy or, and I say silly things and all that. They love me, they laugh, they want to kick me, which isn't good. No.
Yeah,
But the parents will love me because the kids love me.
and the
And
parents will kick you. No, no.
and so it is with mentalists. I was reading on this was a couple of years ago already, the amazing Kreskin, who in my formative years, I think I was 14 when his 5 season show aired. every week on television. I was just brand new into magic and I loved it. And I patterned
Good.
myself after him. You can still catch snippets and the way I speak when I'm doing my effects. In
Yeah.
fact, Sue makes fun of me a lot and some of the things I say, and she goes, Kreskin would say that. And it's like, oh dear, I didn't mean that. But
Do you
regardless,
do you shake hands like this?
yeah, yeah, and pretty near tear off a person's arm while doing it.
Yeah.
But but what I read, and regardless if it's true or not, the generalities are true. He
Yeah.
gets his audience to dig him right away. Let's say they were living in a cave all these years and they never saw his TV show. Here's some goofy looking guy in horn rimmed glasses coming out, and he gets their attention by gaining a little bit of sympathy. Now, a
Yeah.
person who was following him around to half a dozen shows said he always opened by saying he backed into or tripped over a ladder and he hurt his knee. And he makes fun of himself and he kind of bends over, like, oh, it hurts. And so you're feeling a little bit of empathy or sympathy for him right off the bat, and you're almost relating to him. Oh, this guy's human. You could
Yeah.
almost see yourself doing that right away. That's how he gets his in. One of the ways, I've seen him numerous times
Yeah.
live as well in various cities in North America. And that's just one of the ways. And it's like, you gotta dig him. You gotta like him right away. And then he's goofy. He does in some cases what we call nowadays dad jokes. Like he'd say something and it's like you almost want to roll your eyes, but you're also feeling it's kind of funny. And so
Yeah.
he's relating to you and you're relating with him on a very humanistic level. And that's it. That's half the battle. Then you're mostly going to go along with anything he has to say. The biggest skeptic, or should I use the word septic? That's more appropriate. No, the biggest skeptic will go along with it. They may not believe that he has any kind of psychic powers, but they'll go along for the ride just to enjoy what he has to show
Yeah.
and whatnot. And do you agree with that? That half the battle is gaining a rapport with your audience early in the show.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think it might be more than half. To be fair, I was told, and I've experienced it, that if you can get your audience on your side, you can do anything and pretty much get away with it.
Yeah,
Um, you know, um, I think for most people, you have about a good 10 minutes at the beginning of your act to get people to like you. Um, Somebody with a disability, it may take even less um,
yes.
because, uh, let me rephrase, you have even less to get the audience to like you because they have to filter in their mind, oh wait, this guy's different or this woman is different. Um, why is he different? Oh, he talks differently. I don't understand what he's saying. Hang on, okay, wait a minute. Now I'm beginning to understand him because I'm getting used to how he talks. So I personally have to fit that in there in the first 5 minutes to increase the chances of getting them to like me. Now, I think I'm a likable guy. I try to be a likable guy. As some of us know, I can't have a temper, but usually that temper goes away. I explode and then it's gone. But I am working on the temper. Um, when I perform, I always try and put the audience first. And I always try and look at myself through my audience's eyes, which, to be fair, can be quite painful because you gotta take your eyes out. No, um, but no. um, but on a serious note, I believe you have to be able to see through your audience's eyes. Um,
Yes,
you
absolutely.
know, uh, uh,
Absolutely.
like the old saying, listen to your audience doesn't mean, well, sometimes it does. The original meaning of the phrase, listen to your audience, is if they don't respond to a trick, that means don't do it anymore because they're not responding to it or trying to change it. But usually it means that trick isn't working for you.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely. I want
and,
to elaborate a
go
little bit
ahead.
on something you
Yeah,
said
please.
on as a performer. We'll give you as an example. You're standing there, let's say it's a live performance or Zoom. Your
Yeah,
audiences are either going to identify with you, which is kind of what you want, but you
yeah,
want to be a little bit separate, you want to be a little bit special, but
yeah, yeah,
enough that people will identify with you,
yeah.
or just like you. Just, you know, oh, he's interesting looking. Oh, the very first time I saw you, which was probably on Open Mic Magic Theater Wednesdays on Facebook, um, I thought right away, what an interesting looking person.
Hmm.
And because I'm told I have a gift, I could tell right away, I could feel your compassion. I could feel how human you really are beneath the surface. I liked you right away. I didn't just go by, what I'm seeing there. Not everybody has a gift. Not everybody is sensitive, and not everybody can, tell, oh, this is a really good guy. Oh, and tell that you got a really funny sense of humor and all that. Like I had you pretty much summed up early, also because I do readings, so that's a whole other
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And so I liked you, and it is a hard job to, let's say you've got a whole audience of either hundreds or dozens of people. Not all of them are going to be psychic. Not all of them are going to be sensitive. We
yeah,
have to assume they're not and either make friends with them, gain their sympathy, have them somehow relate to to us. And yeah, as you say, that's more than half the problem. I want to segue into an interesting well, you'll get what I'm about to say. Propless props.
mm,
Yes,
mm,
impromptu mentalism, propless, quote unquote. That's a whole chapter, probably a whole thing in itself. And regular magicians who maybe they'll stick in a mentalism effect as part of their show, or sometimes not at all, and that's okay too. There's a reputation that mentalism is boring or visually boring. But if your whole show is mentalism or bizarre magic, there's interesting props built in anyway. So that's a
yeah,
whole other thing. But let's say you're doing a straight mentalism show. You want to have nothing more than a clipboard or a pen or a pencil or sheets of paper, maybe index cards, maybe a pack of playing cards. And these are apparently incidental to everything. They're kind of
yeah,
to do experiments, if you will,
yeah, yeah.
and hopefully make the spectator or spectators or assistant from the audience feel good about themselves. Ergo, the whole audience feels good, and on and on. Um, I know you're a mentalist. I know you're a bizarrist and a mystery entertainer.
Mhm.
How do you feel? Does that bother you at all on some days where maybe your whole show is in a briefcase? I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
you're getting paid maybe several hundred or more dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And even worse, have you ever encountered a sponsor where maybe they're paying you 1,200 bucks or they're paying you 500 or they're paying you an okay amount, but we would consider an okay amount, and you show up with a case, maybe two cases, um, and they don't really respond well to that. What do you
Yeah,
do?
yeah. I mean, that's it's only happened to me twice where I show up with a case or a couple of cases, and they're like, "Well, where's the rest of your stuff?" I'm like, "No, this is it. This is all I need." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, I've only done this twice, and I probably won't do it again. Um, but each time I said, I'll tell you what, watch the show. If you don't like it, I'll go home and you don't have to pay. But if you like it, you gotta pay me.
Very
And
good. Very
um,
good. That's gutsy, Tommy.
it is, I mean, I'm not toot my own horn, but I know I'm good enough to prove my worth. So
Yep.
if if they want to be a dick about it, you can cut that out if you want to. Um, uh,
And I
yeah,
might.
yeah. um,
Yeah.
so, yeah, no, if you want to be that way, that's on them. And but it, I've always gotten paid. Is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm sorry. I'm going to share with
oh,
our
hey,
audience something along those lines. But even though I loved mentalism and grew up on Kreskin, not threw up on Kreskin, but grew up on Kreskin.
I grew
Um,
up on them. Yeah.
oh, really?
Yeah,
And
no,
so,
that's a whole
wow.
nother story. That's
Oh,
a whole
dear.
nother show. It's a whole nother show. please, please continue.
At his request. No, that's a whole other thing as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, he
So,
asked me to do it.
oh dear, I think all our audience just left. In any
Yeah,
case,
somebody did.
you can hear the squeaking, the creaking of doors as they leave.
Yeah,
In any case, when I first started off doing magic and being booked by agents out east, I would have four TV dinner trays full of props, plus doves and eventually rabbits. And then I started toning things down after I
mhm,
started doing big illusions, and I was getting the same response out of metamorphosis as the Botania, the flower production. And it's like, really? I mean, I could throw the Botania in my case and get the same response as if I'm paying someone to schlep my illusions for me. I better rethink this.
yeah,
So I started to whittle things down and take the David Ginn approach of maybe four or five kids' tricks and lots of storytelling that
yeah,
filled a half an hour, 45
yeah,
minutes,
yeah,
and got paid $350 for a
yeah,
30 to 40-minute show.
yeah,
But then I started getting inquiries, or my agents, I forget what it was, but people were saying, well, how many tricks do you do in that half hour? And it's like, are you kidding me? They were basing my worth on how many magic
right,
tricks I did.
yeah,
And is this fair? And there was also an affair with, not an affair, but something that happened with a bunny rabbit I used to do in all my shows. And
hmm,
the father didn't want to pay the 10 extra bucks for the rabbit, so I didn't bring it to the kids' show.
yeah, yeah,
And all these kids knew each other because I had done little Billy or little Helen or little
yeah,
Joseph's show and always did the rabbit. And then at the end, I didn't do the rabbit. And I must have lost my mind, but I was very much like this in those days. I spoke my mind with no filter. And one of the little kids piped up, "Hey, how come you didn't produce a rabbit? How come there is no rabbit?" And I said, "Well, your dad was too cheap to pay the extra
yeah.
10
Go
bucks."
talk to your dad. Yeah, yeah,
And the
yeah,
dad was standing there. You bet I got
yeah,
a phone call. And needless to say, I was never booked again for that particular community of which I am a part of. But nonetheless, I didn't
Ooh,
care
yeah,
because it's like, well, this is the show. It's worth triple what I'm charging you. And back then I was charging, I think, 50 bucks, 60 bucks.
yeah,
And once I got the agents, then it was 350 or 450 for the same show.
yeah,
But talking about props, it's like, well, do people really put value to a show? And the more props you have, the more color there is, it fills your eyes. I think so. Maybe you're not doing 10 tricks. I had to start doing 10 or 12 tricks back before the agents, before they put any value to my shows. And I thought, okay, I'll do what people want. They want a colorful show. Let them have a show with 10 or 12 tricks. But then I started whittling it down and
yep,
gave them value for dollar, which was laughter, which was they liked me. They sang along with my songs. They did audience participation, and that outweighed how many tricks I did in my show. And so it must be with mentalism as well. If you're providing an experience for them, they don't care whether you're doing 10 flower tricks somehow worked into a mentalism show, or a pen and pencil, a deck of cards, and there's your half hour, 45-minute show for
Right.
three, four,
Yeah.
$500. How do you feel about that?
You pretty much said it all right there. Those two experiences that I talked about happened in that same community that I belong to as well, and is one reason why I don't perform for people in my own community anymore because for many of them it is about you know how
Mm,
many props you use and I'm not about that anymore.
yeah, exactly. And who needs that at our age?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it,
To
you
say,
know, we're
it's a young,
performers, we're
yeah,
entertainers, we
it's
want
a
to give
young man.
our
Yeah,
all, and that's
yeah.
it,
Yeah.
really.
Now,
I'm wondering,
having said that, um, mentalism can get dry if it really depends on the performer. If my performance style is much different live than it is here.
oh, sure,
I
absolutely.
wish most people to see what I do. I'm very energetic. I'm all over the stage. Sometimes I'm all over the audience. I get a lot of that from Preston as well because I know he's going in the audience. Um, you know, you're paying to see me, whether they realize it or not. Many times they don't realize it because they don't know I'm the one performing. But I have to go in with that mindset that they're coming to see me. So I have
Yes,
to give them the best show that I can do. Sometimes I get a little bit lazy on our shows because I can't. I'm home, I'm sitting down, I'm naked from the waist down, So no, I'm not. I'm not. Oh, yeah, no, no. But the, Michael. No, the idea is that when I'm on stage, um, I'm a lot more active, and I do use bigger props on
yes,
so people can see what's going on. But it's not like I have like, uh, and that's their thing, and that's fine. I know a lot of muscles, they have these big stage lights, and it looks great. But in my mind, it looks like a magician who doesn't, a, men-
yes,
a
I agree.
mentalist, a mentalist should not look like a musician unless that is part of the character. Like for example, and I know we're going long, and that's fine with me, but my mentor, Kenton Nepper, he dresses like a wizard because he really personifies himself as a wizard in real life. So why not? Um,
Sure.
I kind of do the same thing, but usually I don't wear a wizard's garb. I usually wear a suit when I'm performing on stage. But I do identify as a wizard,
Yes,
hence the long beard. Um, but there is, even though we say there isn't a difference between magic and mechanism, um, there is. I mean, there isn't, but there is.
absolutely.
What anyway, that could be a whole show right
And
there.
I think it should be. I can't wait.
Uh,
Is it possible to impose on you? I don't know if you have another experiment or effect handy that someone from our audience, Holly, somebody from our audience might be able to participate in. And
yeah,
we
sure.
maybe just use your voice if you're uncomfortable, Holly, being seen for whatever reasons. It is daylight after all, and you shouldn't really be out in daylight. But Mm, do you have something, Tommy, that maybe
I
Holly
have
could?
I have something set up, but uh, but just yeah, bring Holly up, and then I'll get this ready to go.
All
Um,
right. I caught you off guard, Holly. I was
yay.
ready to just have your audio, your voice, you know?
And now we can't
You
hear
can
her.
unmute yourself. There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
As I say,
Hey,
yeah, I'm
Holly.
I'm hiding out today. I'm relaxing
Uh,
in my room.
And
where's
she's thinking to herself, did he say Holly? No. Anyway.
Hi, Holly.
Hi,
How
Tommy. How
are
are you?
you? I'm good. Good to see you. Okay, bring you to move again. Okay, you gotta stay over there now, okay? You can't keep going back and forth. Alright. I mean, you can, and you probably will, but I wish you would stop. Okay. Let me
That's
bring
he's
up.
not talking to his dog, by the way. He's got elves
Yeah,
running around
yeah,
his apartment.
actually, I don't really have a dog. My dog died like 5 years ago. So, no.
That's a little bit psycho. It's,
Yeah, yeah,
and the
no.
dog is sitting in a
He's,
rocking chair
he's,
dressed as
yeah,
an old
exactly.
kebab.
With a, with
Anyway,
a, with a wig. Yeah. Anywho, let's see. All right. So, um, Holly, you've heard of Harry Houdini, yes?
Of course, yes.
Yeah, everyone has. He's like one of the only musicians um, whose name was so big, almost 100 years after he after he was alive. And there were other um, magicians of his time that magicians know about, but most lay people probably don't. But Houdini was a master at self promotion. I wish I was half as good because I actually suck at self promotion. One reason why I wrote my book, um, so I could promote the book instead of me. But anyway, so I have this wooden box and a couple of pieces of ribbon. There's a red one that kind of disappears in the on the pad, but it is here. In fact, let's do this the other way. We put the red ribbon underneath the box. So, all right. And then I have a couple of boxes. One is bigger than the other one because it's actually my watch that I wear. This is
one is always bigger than the other, is it not, Tommy?
yes, yeah, and that will change. Mine is a big one. The small one I actually bought from my ex-girlfriend, but she broke up with me before I gave it to her. So, if there are any eligible women out there who want a watch,
He has
uh,
it ready.
call me. Call no. uh, so, um, so let's say the big watch will represent Harry Houdini, and the
Okay.
small one, his wife Beatrice, um, who also went by the name
Yes.
Beth or Bessie. And so we're going to put Bessie inside the box like that, and then we're going to tie a bow around here, and hopefully my fingers and thumb have been giving me trouble, but hopefully, okay, that wasn't so bad. So we have a bow there, and then we're going to place the blue ribbon here and through the whole box around like this, and then we're going to tie the blue ribbon around the side, like whoops, like so. My poor thumbs. I was telling Michael before the show that after the show I'm going to have to put my thumbs in ice because they hurt so bad. But if she's still out there, Robina gave me a good idea. She gave me a link to a type of medication that will help, hopefully will help my thumb. So apparently it helps her with her wrist. So hopefully it'll help me with my thumbs. Anyway, this is another empty box that goes on top of the smaller box containing Beth. And now Houdini is on top. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but this is a miniature of the great metamorphosis trick that Harry and his wife did for a couple of decades. Where she would go in a small box, he would go on top, and then they would cover the box up like this, where you could still see him. And then he would go underneath the handkerchief like that, and then count 1, 2, 3, and then Bessie was on top,
Oh,
and then inside the box was still tied up. The blue ribbon is untied, and then the red ribbon is also untied. And then when we open the box, there is Harry Houdini inside the small box.
awesome. Wow, I like that.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome. Thanks, Tommy.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's fun. So yeah, that's the miniature metamorphosis. And yeah.
Awesome. I love that. I love the quality of the props as well. Will you be doing that this Wednesday or will you be doing it on?
If not this Wednesday, I may be saving it for you, so.
Oh,
Uh,
I was
uh,
hoping you'd say that, but you know,
yeah, yeah, because yours is on Friday, right?
Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm probably going to save it for that, if that's okay with you. And then I'll do something else on Wednesday. But
yeah.
yeah, that's fun. And, you know, like you said, the props are really simple. And I will probably change it because that's the original handling is you borrow 2 watches, and that gets the audience involved. I was going to use I have a Houdini deck of cards, and I was
Oh,
going to use
wow.
that another deck of cards, but you know, but I'll figure it out eventually. But before we end, I just wanted to. You mentioned something about getting a prop and following the what was written in there. Sometimes I will make a prop and not necessarily know what I'm going to do with it. And I'm not going to perform these right now, but one of them was my 7 deadly sins and 7 heavenly virtues deck. Originally, I made them without really having a routine in mind. I just thought it was a interesting thing to have, and I was hoping that by the time I got them from the printer, that I would know what to do with them, and now I do. um, the same with my visitor yet. Um,
I
he
love the
was,
look of those so much.
thank you.
I love those props
Yeah,
that you also sell on your website. Isn't that true?
yeah, well, I kind of wanted to throw this in before we finish so that way I could have you in post put magictaboo.com underneath it. But yeah, you can buy my book. We get back to what we were originally talking about. You can get my book, Beneath the Surface, and hardcover for $100 or paperback. Same thing in the book as in a hardcover, but this will last you a lifetime. This might not, but this is only $50. On my website, magictaboo.com, which brings me to the last thing I want to say. I started writing my next book, which the working title is Beneath the Veil, a professional bizarre magician's guide. And
Nice. I can't wait.
it's going to be principles for a few tricks and a whole bunch of bizarre stories that I have written on and off for the past 5 years but didn't know what to do with them. And it occurred to me the other day, put them in a book. So they're going to be in the second book, Beneath the Veil by Tommy Burnett. So keep an eye
Awesome.
out.
You're a class act, Tommy, and you're loved and appreciated, not just for your performance skills, but you're a real mensch. And I know many people out there will know what I mean when I say that. You're a mensch. And thank you. Right, boy, Chico. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
What a nice boy.
what a nice boy.
Yeah.
So I
When,
have
when,
to
I,
say,
when I was a teenager, I'm sorry. When I was a teenager, I had hair down to right here. And there was a man, an older gentleman in my building named Mr. Feld, Feld. Very nice Jewish man. And, but he was like really old. And I can understand why he made the mistake. But he knew that I was like 14, so I was like full of piss and vinegar, and he leaned over to me, grabbed my teeth, and said, "Very nice Doyle." And I was so mad. I didn't get mad at him, but I was mad for being confused for being a girl. But looking back, I was a
what are you
good
gonna do? What are you
yeah,
gonna do?
what are you?
Whenever and my mom was worse than that, I think. If I brought a friend over to meet my parents, if I brought a girlfriend or a female
Yeah,
friend,
yeah.
she'd grab them right here with her. She had very bony, long fingers, and she'd squeeze them. So if they didn't have dimples, they had dimples at the end, and she'd go, "Oh, you're so cute." And of course made them feel tremendously uncomfortable. But that just reminded me of what my mama used to do.
Yeah,
Uh, Tommy, thank you so much for joining us
thanks.
this time on Magical People Live. You're right. We should do a whole series maybe in the new year. If and when Magical People Live, it is going to end just before Christmas. Maybe we'll start up something new in the new year.
Yeah,
And I would love
maybe
it to be all
maybe we can
mentalism.
finally do that show that you and I were going to
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa, oh. Well, I predict good things.
do. Yes.
So be well, and we'll see you this Wednesday on Open Mic Magic
Yeah.
Theater and on my show the following Friday. Thanks
Yeah.
again.
Thank you.
And I want to thank all of you out there for sitting through this incredible visit with Tommy Burnett, who I'm very thankful made himself available to stay. As I was saying on and off throughout the show, watch Open Mic Magic Theater. It's on Facebook. Look it up on Facebook. It's like a showcase of some of the world's greatest magicians every Wednesday, 1 p.m. LA time. 4 p.m. New York time, 9 p.m. UK time, just like this show and just like my Friday night show as well. And speaking of the Friday night show, the first Friday of every month at 1 p.m. LA time, 4 p.m. New York time, 9 p.m. UK time, I feature some of the greatest magicians in the world who include many of the ones from this show, many of the ones from Open Mic Magic Theater, Kevin Peele, Tommy Burnett, Rubina the Enchantress, Peter John, John the Great. But I also source out other magicians that perhaps you haven't seen. And this Friday, August 1st, we have Michael Kelly. He's an amazing storyteller who just did a recent virtual show. Donovan, an amazing sleight of hand artist that I've known 30 years. I first saw him on the streets of Vancouver, Canada, doing doves out of nowhere, dressed impeccably in a white tuxedo. And that was an awesome street slash stage show. But his close-up magic is impeccable, and you'll witness that this Friday. Michael Kelly, Donovan, and Ari Rose, everybody's favorite. I want to call her a goth magician, but I think she'd kick me for that. Um, Mystery entertainer, I want to say. She's visually very interesting and very entertaining as well. Plus, we have John the Great, myself, and Cheryl, who's my usual co-host here. We call ourselves Strange Gambits, and we do a bit of mentalism or bizarre magic together as a team. So that's coming up on Friday. And my goodness, I don't believe we've come to the end of this show. We have following over the next few months up until near Christmas time, a great assortment of fun guests, some of whom are actually in our virtual audience. And I'm hoping you'll join us again really soon. We do this for you, and the pleasure we gain from sharing and giving to you is immeasurable. Thank you all again for joining us this time.